There is something about Jesus in the Garden of Gethsemane that makes prayer feel a lot more real to me. Because when we think about prayer, we often imagine it at its strongest. We picture calm, confidence, peace, and clear words. We think prayer should sound steady. We think it should feel powerful. We think we should come to God with faith that never shakes and language that always makes sense. But then you look at Jesus in the garden and you see something different. Think about this. You see him in one of the heaviest moments of his earthly life. He knows what is coming. He knows betrayal is close. He knows pain is coming. He knows the cross is not just an idea anymore. It's right in front of him. And what does he do? He prays. And that alone matters a lot to me because you see, Jesus did not run from the Father when life got heavy. He went to the Father. He did not pretend the weight was not real. He brought the weight into prayer. He did not put on a religious performance. He told the truth. And I think that is where this connects with so many of us. Because a lot of people are not avoiding prayer because they do not love God. They're avoiding prayer because they're tired, overwhelmed, disappointed, or afraid of being honest. They think prayer has to sound better than they feel. They think they have to clean up their emotions before they come to God. But Jesus shows us something different. He shows us that real prayer can happen in the place where the soul feels pressed. In the garden, Jesus said, "My soul is overwhelmed with sorrow." Now, I want you to think about that. Jesus did not hide what was happening inside of him. He did not act untouched. He did not pretend the moment was easy. He gave language to the weight he was carrying. Now, that should free somebody today because if Jesus could bring sorrow into prayer, then you can bring your tiredness into prayer. If Jesus could bring pressure into prayer, then you can bring your pressure into prayer. And if Jesus could tell the Father what he was facing, then you do not have to hide the part of your heart that feels weak. Sometimes we think faith means never saying, "This is hard." But Jesus did say it was hard. He did not sin by being honest. He did not fail by feeling the weight. He stayed surrendered, but he did not stay silent. This is a powerful difference. I think some of you have been trying to pray while acting like everything's fine. You sit there with fear in your chest, but you think you need to sound grateful. You're hurt, but you think you need to sound strong. You're worn down, but you think God only wants to hear the polished version of you. But prayer is not where you impress God. Prayer is where you meet him with the truth. And here's one of the most interesting parts of Gethsemane, in my opinion. Jesus prayed the same prayer more than once. He went back and he prayed again the same burden, the same surrender, the same deep cry of his heart. Now, that tells me something more beautiful. God is not bothered by the prayer you have prayed before. Now, maybe you keep coming back with the same sentence. Lord, help me. God, I am scared. Jesus, please do not let me fall apart. Maybe you feel embarrassed because your prayers have not been long lately. Maybe they're not fresh, and maybe they're not full of energy. Maybe it feels like all you do is bring the same tired need to God again and again. But Jesus prayed again too. He did not need to perform variety for the Father. He came honestly. He returned honestly. He surrendered honestly. So maybe the problem is not that your prayer is too small. Maybe the problem is that you've been judging a prayer God is completely willing to receive. A tired prayer is still a real prayer when it turns toward God. And that, my friends, is worth holding on to. Not because it sounds nice, but because Jesus shows us what honest prayer looks like under pressure. He shows us that prayer is not always peaceful at the beginning. Sometimes prayer begins with trembling and ends with trust. Sometimes prayer begins with sorrow and ends with surrender. Sometimes prayer begins with, Father, if it is possible, and ends with, not as I will, but as you will. Now, that doesn't mean surrender is easy, because it's not. It means surrender is possible with God. And I want to be careful here because some people use surrender like it means you're not allowed to feel anything anymore. That's not what we see in Jesus. Surrender did not make him fake, it made him faithful. He still told the truth, he still faced the pain, and he still leaned into the Father. Now, that may be where you are today. You may not have a perfect prayer. You may not have a strong voice. You may not feel calm. But you could still turn toward the Father and say, I do not know how to carry this, but I do not want to carry it without you. That is prayer. Prayer is not always you feeling victorious. Sometimes prayer is you refusing to be alone in your pain. Sometimes it is you bringing God the sentence you can barely say. And sometimes it's you sitting in silence because words are just too much. But your heart is still pointed toward Him. And do not miss what happened in the garden. The disciples, well, they fell asleep. The people closest to Jesus could not stay awake with him. That part is painful, but it's also very human. You see, there are moments when people who love you and still cannot fully understand what you are carrying. They may care, but they may not know what to do. They may want to be there, but they may not be able to hold the weight with you. Jesus knows what that feels like as well. So when you pray from a lonely place, you're not praying to someone who has never tasted loneliness. When you pray from a tired place, you're not praying to someone who stands far away from human weakness. Jesus entered our world deeply enough to know sorrow, pressure, betrayal, exhaustion, and silence. And that is why you can come to him without pretending. You can say, Jesus, you know what this feels like. You could say, you prayed under weight. Teach me how to pray under mine. Or you can say, help me tell the truth and still trust the Father. Now, that kind of prayer may change you slowly. It may not remove every problem in one moment. It may not give you every answer tonight, but it can keep your heart from closing. It can keep you near God when everything in you wants to pull away. And it can give you enough strength to take the next faithful step. And sometimes that is the miracle. Not that everything changed at once, but that you stayed with God in the middle of it. So, if you're tired, pray tired. If you're afraid, pray afraid. And if you're confused, pray confused. Do not wait until you feel strong to come to God. Jesus did not show us a prayer life built on pretending. He showed us a prayer life built on honesty, surrender, and trust. Tonight, your prayer can be this simple: Father, I am here. I am tired, and I don't know what to do, but I still want you. Help me trust you with this. And that's enough to begin again. Now, if this talk met you in a place where prayer has been hard, leave one honest sentence in the comments. You don't have to explain your whole story. Just say what you need prayer for today. And if you want steady Christian encouragement for real life, you are welcome to subscribe and keep walking with us. Jesus understands the weight you are carrying, and he can meet you right there in prayer. My name is Douglas Vandergraph, and I believe in Jesus Christ. God bless every single one of you. Every single one.